Heavy sell-off in Bitcoin, falling below $80,000, yet trillions could flow into Bitcoin. Hey, welcome. The market isn't much fun right now. Bitcoin falls below 80,000 and could still close a CME gap around 76,000. But that doesn't necessarily mean it will be closed. More likely with stocks, but not always so likely with Bitcoin. Perhaps more likely in a bear market because we are still in a bull market. One must honestly say that that's why we check the price and see that actually, if you go to the daily chart and look at it, in a bear market, we were somewhere down here as around 50,000. Now we are here at around 80,000. But actually, if we're honest, and we have to say it like this, we are still in a bull market. And we definitely are, that must be noted, even though this pullback is happening right now. I have found a few charts again, or rather, they were sent to me, which we will gladly take a look at shortly and then check what's going on there. There are people who buy the dip. There are people who wanted to buy the dip, at least according to their statements. And of course, there are exciting news in the altcoin sector as well. We have the news or the topic of this video, the $1 trillion inflows into Bitcoin. We will, of course, take a look at that. And at the end, we will delve into the topic of Casper, but mainly into the topic of Solana and the ETF. Let's take a look at that first. And then we actually start with the video. Long intro, or rather, briefly show the chart. That's what I actually wanted to do now. Or rather, tell you now that we, as we can see here, if we look here, 78,189, that's where we started, or rather, that's where we fell down. And started in this case means that we then saw two green candles again. Well, we also saw green candles here, and then it went further down again. The whole thing is very interesting, and I want to explain a bit what's going on there right now, or rather show a little something. Let's start with this one here. And indeed, many have said this is the absolute movie. Indeed, Eric Trump went here and said, at the dips, I told you in the last video, and since he said that, the price has continued to fall. So did he perhaps call at the dips and want to sell himself? No, I don't think so. The Trumps are positioning themselves in the market for the long term because they can probably assess what is still to come in the crypto sector or mainly in the Bitcoin sector. That's why they will position themselves. But yes, it is of course crazy. He says buy the dips and the price goes down. But we already know that from many others where this has happened, someone who is buying more is El Salvador. They keep buying the dips. They have added more Bitcoin again as of yesterday. And they will probably continue to add more. And that leads to El Salvador accumulating more and more Bitcoins always during the dip. So they do buy regularly, as you can clearly see here. But the dips are being bought extremely. And this is, of course, celebrated a bit in the community, or rather shown like, hey, they are buying the dips. Why aren't we doing that? But you can't buy the dip of the dip, and the dip, it dips you even more, the one that follows. So it's crazy. Then a little explanation. Why did this actually happen? We have several explanations. And one of the explanations, they already affected the stock markets last Friday. Now it's Friday again, and things are going down. And that's the topic. No, just when we see that, yeah, and also Wuhan again. That's not so nice right now. And we see that there might be a continuation of COVID-19 because now we have the HKU5 curve. COVID-19 can already infect human cells and is a virus with a mortality rate of 30%. And it can show similarities to COVID-19 and thus has pandemic potential. I already told you in the previous video. Now there's more news about it, I would say. This is from the Daily. And that is, of course, not nice at all. And that has, of course, also caused the markets to crash a bit. We will now briefly look at the stock markets and check other figures. So that was a factor last week. It already affected the stock markets, but also crypto, including Bitcoin, which also got hit, slowing things down a bit. Now, this statement here, yes, not nice, but as I said, we will delve a bit deeper shortly. If we want to be a bit more humorous, a few memes, then we see this image, or rather charts. Yes, we see it. The McDonald's chart, I have another one that looks similar. Suddenly, very strange. Let's dive right in. But this is Ethereum in this case, not Bitcoin. It's very important to mention again at this point, this is the Ethereum chart and the McDonald's logo has been placed underneath. Let's dive into the chart. I already showed you in the last video this image here. I'll move myself away for a moment. This image here where we saw that someone just placed the chart here. And then we were here, and now there was the sell-off here. And he actually says there will be one last short rise, and then it's over anyway. And then it goes into the bear market. Yes, I would rather claim that this is happening. So I rather believe this is what we can expect. Because I still say we are in a bull market. And if we are in a bull market, then it can't be that we are already going down here. So is this the last bull trap before it goes up? With the background, that something like Wuhan and America also have to suffer a bit first with the trade war and tariffs and so on. I believe we are rather down here. So I believe we are still here. I believe the journey to a big bull market with large investments and price breakouts will take a little longer. I believe it will be a very prolonged bull market in this case. Therefore, a tough time is coming our way. And this tough time, yes, we have to endure it first, or rather we have to bridge it first. And the important thing is that we bridge it together and even a bit relaxed. If we take a look at the market in terms of the fear and greed index, it's really at the bottom. Incredible what's going on here. We had even yesterday it was even a 10 key. Can we go back there again? Yes, here it was very low yesterday. We were here. No, it was 20. Sorry, a 20. But there were many screenshots showing a 10. But I believe that the whole thing, yes, that the whole thing was already an older screenshot because we were more around 20 yesterday exactly. I didn't screenshot it afterwards, but we were here. Let's look again, 2702, today 2802. We are in 2021. Yes. And we haven't been this low for a long time. Let's go to, we have never been this low. At least here on CoinMarketCap, where this indicator was adopted on 30/06/2023. Wow, this is the lowest level. And if we also take a look at Google Trends, which I did before, I'm not open to it right now. And indeed, we can also see that the search queries have gone down extremely, just a little bit up. And then you wonder, is this the turning point? Is it going back up now? No, I think people just want to see, how low it can go, where it stands. Is it already dead? Is it at zero? Is it finally gone? Yeah. I think it's more like that. Then we delve a bit into the economy to perhaps explain what's going on there. What happened yesterday, or rather, why is there this sell-off? And of course, the Bitcoin market is also driven by the US financial markets, or rather by the strong USA. And things like unemployment are naturally an important topic, especially now when many government employees have been laid off. We see here, previously it was 220,000. The forecast was 220,000, but currently the result was 242,000. So 20,000 more unemployed in the USA. But well, government employees were laid off. This might now be the negative effect, that perhaps the economy is also looking at it and says we have many unemployed again. This will again not be so nice, or rather, we have to distribute them somehow. A positive effect is that in Washington, house prices have dropped by around 100,000 because all the government employees are saying, well, then I'll go back to my rural area or wherever. Here, my house can go. And the supply of houses is currently higher than the supply of buyers. So the whole thing naturally also brings about effects here with unemployment, but also with house prices in Washington, D.C. Then we had something else, a very important figure, namely previous. 3.1, forecast 2.3, but this was the gross domestic product, that is the figure that indicates how economically or how much money the country earns. And that is an important point. We have now gone down, but this was expected with the forecast. These are all figures. Why am I showing you these? They are important for the Federal Reserve, for interest rate policy. They then say, based on these figures, they are already calculating whether we should lower the interest rates, keep them the same, or even have to raise them. Of course, the inflation figures are also important. So, we will see many points here that all flow into this a bit, because if at the end of the day the interest rates are raised again, then there won't be cheap money again, but the money remains expensive in that sense. And that means no further investments. No further investments mean the market is not being fed further. Yes, these are all things that really need to be observed. And yes, then let's take a quick look at the stock markets again. And then you actually see The S&P 500, it also went down significantly yesterday. Then let's take a look at the Coinbase stock, which also suffered yesterday, but today it's up again. We can see that with Bitcoin as well. Exactly these green candles, which means it still correlates. We can't avoid it. And as I mentioned earlier, there's another chart which also has an M. That's the DAX. The DAX after all-time high, all-time high, all-time high, all-time high. Then after a sell-off, a rise again. So here, the M can also be seen. With the DAX, the German stock index, which of course also had already reacted last Thursday or Friday to this potential COVID news, as we can see here, and also fell yesterday. And it starts before the US stock markets. That is also an important topic. That's why here, it even fell before the start of the US markets. So, it's not nice right now. That must be noted, but there is still a positive topic which comes after the commercial. If you now say you want to invest in cryptocurrencies, then check out the crypto exchanges. Coinex offers simple and straightforward options like easy deposits and withdrawals through third parties. Directly, via Visa, MasterCard, Apple Pay, bank transfer, DEPA, everything is possible here. This with various currencies and the whole process with deposits, but of course also with withdrawals. Everything is possible here, and you have a simple swap function. They have over 1,200 cryptocurrencies listed, and with them, you can easily swap back and forth. For example, you can swap Bitcoin into a company. This is very easy here, or into other various cryptocurrencies, simply and straightforwardly. You can also always see the most popular swap pairs. What are others doing right now? You can observe that a little bit. Of course, you can also easily buy these 1,200 cryptocurrencies on the spot and send them to your hardware wallet. That's not a problem at all. And you can also here engage in futures trading, copy trading, or copy trading. And if you're interested, saying trading is really my thing, I'd like to test it out. Demo trading is also available here. There are additional newcomer bonuses, which you can find here in the newcomer section. There are many promotions like mining, trading, ranking, deposit bonus, and the airdrop station. There are many great things here. And with the link in the video description or the pinned comment, there's additional cashback available at Coinex, 1,200 cryptocurrencies and very easy deposits and withdrawals. That's Coinex. Check it all out. Now let's dive into the topic of billions for Bitcoin. This is an important topic, and I already showed it in a short video the day before yesterday. And now we're going to delve a bit deeper and take a look at it. Specifically, this image, yes, he did it. Michael Saylor met with, I would claim it's the crypto task force, among others. He met with them and discussed what can be done with the topic. Strategic Bitcoin reserve. He did all this not only with envoys from the US government, but also with GameStop, who also have a lot of money left over. There was even an investor letter suggesting they should invest in Bitcoin and also with states where he has mostly held talks. So Michael Saylor is on a promotional tour for Bitcoin. I would like to show, of course, what it looks like when you want to build a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Here is another image related to it. So, Michael Saylor confirms a meeting with the House Financial Services Committee to discuss how the USA could become the global leader in Bitcoin and also cryptocurrencies. That is definitely an intense topic. And there was also a document about it. We have that here. This is what it looks like and how, right. Before we dive into the really intense stuff and the topic of trillions for crypto, we see that there is supposed to be a classification for this topic. Namely, digital commodity, a digital commodity backed by digital power. So, Bitcoin and also Casper. They might not have the large hash rate, but yes, they are backed by digital power. Then, digital security. So digital stocks, I would say. This is where there are individual money issuers like BNB, Ethereum, and Solana, Cardano, and so on. Whatever they are all called, those would then be digital security. Then there would be digital currency, which are backed by fiat. So for example, USDT, such. Digital token, these are digital utility. Fungible token, and yes, there are also various digital ones. NFT bin, that is clear, and digital. ABT. That's interesting because it is backed by physical assets. For example, there is also a gold stablecoin which would fall under this category. So there are various points, and it's very interesting how the whole thing is described. For example, issues, exchange, and owners, meaning the people who own Bitcoin on their hardware wallets are owners. Exchange, how do you calculate them? And then issues, which deals with rights, obligations, and how to handle them. That's already an interesting approach to classify the whole thing. And now we come to point 5 to show the whole thing here. It's really crazy. Namely, the US government could buy 5 million sized Bitcoin here for a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Yes, and how do you do that? For that, you need money. And this money could then be established, Bitcoin reserve, creating, with 16 to 81 trillion German billion for the US Treasury. Wow, that's crazy. There are other points, but this point is just that you have to consider 16 to 81 trillion dollars could flow into Bitcoin. This could mean they could buy about 5 million Bitcoin and of course more. Currently, there are about 2 million Bitcoin on the exchanges that can be relatively easily purchased. But of course, this also drives the price up. If at the end of the day you say, for example, I buy at market and it simply fulfills all buy orders that are currently there, then it can of course happen that you also fulfill a buy order at 150,000. And the last paid price is the price we see on the exchange or that is displayed to us. So it's a really extreme number. 16 to 81 trillion dollars. It's an extreme number. You really have to let that sink in, and that would definitely drive the Bitcoin price up. Yes, and why should one do that? Or rather, why does one think that this is good? And indeed, the USA as a country, just like we do in Germany, have, yes, extremely high debts, even very high debts. So we in Germany have a debt burden of, I could mention numbers now. Around 40%, 40 or 60%, something in that range. And in the USA, it's over 100%. They actually have much more debt than their own gross domestic product. That's bad. And with Bitcoin, it could happen that one can pay off the debts here, eventually. Because the Bitcoin price, of course, also just by the announcement alone, hello, by the way, we, the USA, are now buying Bitcoin. And then the price goes up. Can you imagine? It could also happen that other countries say, if the USA is doing it, then there is a plan, then they have an idea, then they know something we don't know, we'll do it too. And that can lead to money flowing into states, and that would, of course, push the Bitcoin price up extremely. And for all the people who have already positioned themselves in the Bitcoin sector, this is, of course, a dream scenario. At the same time, large companies, stock companies, in other words, the really big capital like GameStop is not even in yet. We don't have Amazon in yet, and so on. We don't have any big players in the market. They are not in yet, at least not verifiably at the moment. But there is someone who keeps trying. I found this very funny. Jeff Bezos posted something here, and Michael Saylor immediately, yes, here. Bitcoin is the only true thing. Invest in Bitcoin. In the spirit of, it's really crazy how many people he tries to orange pill, or rather, he tries to bring everyone into Bitcoin, but also big players like in this case, Jeff Bezos, CEO of Amazon. So we see something big could still be coming our way. And maybe some people think, yes, trillions for Bitcoin, that's just clickbait again. No, as you can see, it's not clickbait. I actually mainly refrain from it. There are many naysayers who say, yes, you only do clickbait. I would not at all know. In any case, we see here that something big could be coming our way. And, that's a huge number, isn't it? What do you think? Write it in the comments. Trillions for Bitcoin, 16 on to 81 trillion. That's quite a huge number, but of course we have to stick to the facts. This is just a proposal. This is nothing definitive. That doesn't mean, yes, it's coming tomorrow. Tomorrow they make the announcement, then the money flows. No, this is just the first proposal, and one can be very curious about when the whole thing will actually happen. Quick note, I just talked about hardware wallets. If you still need a hardware wallet, check out Ledger. At Ledger, the Stacks is finally available, and you can finally buy it now. The Nano series, whether X, S Plus, and so on, but also the Ledger Flex. Feel free to take a look. You can find the link in the video description or in the pinned comment. Ledger, the simple hardware wallet that you can use on the go. With Bluetooth functionality, except for the S Plus, but all the others have it. And then you can also manage send, and of course, view your crypto assets on the go. You are secure on the go with your self-custody, meaning a hardware wallet that you hold in your hand and have your 24 or 12 words for yourself. Check out Ledger. Shall we dive into Bitcoin at the end of the video? And There we see that many people, also from me, get new Casper videos, but it's actually the same status as before. We are waiting for the Binance listing. We are waiting for further listings. We see that the hard fork is still coming. So it's still, you can't really make big videos right now. Make it happen. There are a few news items, but it's not like I can say I can make a 10-minute video out of it. These are things I can rattle off to you in 3 minutes. And then that's it. Now everyone says, yeah, then just do it right now. No, we're not doing that now, but I took a brief breath yesterday and said, OKX is here. No, it's not OKX, but at first glance, right? Be honest. At first glance, it looked like that here. First, these up here. Then I thought, oh, OKX, no, it's something else, but it's a new listing. At the end of the day, it's a new listing. Probably no one knows the exchange. Casper is probably pushing the exchange through their listing, if at all, because most people already have their exchange where they have long been trading or buying Casper. Then let's move on to Solana. Solana, let's quickly look at the chart as well. With Solana, we see that the chart shot up even faster earlier. Look here, we can see it here too. It shot up faster. Like, for example, Bitcoin. We just saw that. Let's quickly show Bitcoin again. Well, by now, it's both. But earlier, Solana had a quicker rise. It had 2 candles before. We are on the 4-hour chart. It already had a green 4-hour candle before. Why? How come? It's relatively simple. I can show you. Namely, the CME group has now the World Langest Future Exchange. That's the CME. There's a list. And now the Solana futures are listed there. The largest futures exchange is introducing Solana futures. Interesting, let's delve further, namely CME is introducing Solana futures on March 17th. Subject to exchange approval, this means the SEC has to approve it, but the SEC has become crypto-friendly under Donald Trump. This means we can assume that it will go through. Very, very exciting. Here you can find the Solana ETFs. It's called SOLD with a T. Many already thought, if it were with a D, sold, meaning sold. It wouldn't look so nice. But here it is, sold and sold. These are the 2 that are already listed here. But we can assume that more will be added. This was, of course, positive for the Solana chart, which then naturally broke out. This is the SEC crypto-friendly. Now, as we see here, the SEC is dropping the lawsuit against CoinEx because previously they had already dropped the whole thing against others. So overall, we are actually seeing positive movements in the USA towards Bitcoin and crypto. The SEC is dropping many lawsuits, leaving crypto exchanges, crypto projects, and crypto applications alone for now. We can now simply do things again, probably due to Donald Trump, who said, I'm the boss of you. And they were like, well, actually, we have another boss, but okay, that's how it is. Yes. And now they are crypto friendly, you can tell. And that's why we're now quickly seeing the rapid launch of the Solana ETF. The XRP ETF is probably even the next one. Many are also saying that a Cardano and Avalanche ETF will follow. I'm curious. Of course, anything can happen, but for now, they're only future ETFs. Very important at this point. Future ETFs and no spot ETFs. So that means the first ETFs are coming as futures, and spot will be the update, just like it was with Bitcoin and the company. Yes, on the whole, it's like this. We are still in a bull market, definitely, but we also have to be honest and say that we are currently in a tough phase, and this tough phase needs to be endured. Possibly with additional purchases, possibly with reallocations or new positions, by simply looking at new projects. But it is really difficult right now. You can also notice it here on the channel, no new projects. We don't really have anything in the pipeline either. We did have a few inquiries for investments, but they didn't appeal to us. At the moment, it is very difficult. And when you look at the news, everything is heading towards Bitcoin. Everything is moving towards Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is being extremely pushed probably in the coming years as well. Then the question is, what happens with Bitcoin? I'm certainly interested in your opinion on this. Write it in the comments, and remember our free Telegram group. All links, all important information, all sources are, as always, in the video description. In this sense, I say thank you very much for watching and see you in the next video.